Imagine waking up tomorrow and every clock on Earth has vanished. Your phone doesn't show the time, your watch is blank. The clocks in schools, airports, offices, and train stations have all stopped working. How would you know when to wake up, eat, work, or sleep? It sounds impossible, but for almost all of human history, people lived exactly like this. Humans have existed for around 300,000 years, yet accurate clocks are a very recent invention. For more than 99% of our existence, nobody knew what 8 a.m. meant. Nobody knew what 3:45 p.m. meant. People simply lived according to nature. The sun was their clock. When the sun rose, the day began. When it climbed high in the sky, people knew it was the middle of the day. And when it disappeared beyond the horizon, work was over. Without alarm clocks, people woke naturally. Birds began chirping, the sky slowly brightened, and their bodies synchronized with daylight. Early hunters left when there was enough light to see, while gatherers searched for food throughout the day. Nobody worried about being 5 minutes late because minutes didn't really exist. Life moved at the speed of nature, not the speed of a clock. As civilizations grew, people noticed something interesting. A simple stick placed into the ground created a shadow that moved throughout the day. The position of that shadow changed as the sun moved across the sky. For the first time, humans had discovered a way to roughly measure time. This eventually led to sundials, some of the earliest clocks ever invented. They weren't perfect. Clouds could make them useless, but they helped people understand how much daylight remained. Ancient Egyptians became experts at tracking time. Thousands of years ago, they carefully studied the sun and stars, dividing the day into sections and creating some of the earliest timekeeping systems in history. But there was one big problem. The sun disappears every night. A sundial becomes completely useless in darkness. So how did people know the time after sunset? The answer was above them. Ancient civilizations began studying the stars. Different constellations appeared at different times throughout the year, and experienced observers could estimate how much of the night had passed simply by looking at the sky. The stars became humanity's nighttime clock. Eventually, people wanted something more reliable, so they invented water clocks. Water slowly dripped from one container into another, and by measuring the amount collected, people could estimate the passing of time, even in complete darkness. Some cultures used candle clocks, placing markings along candles and measuring time by how much wax had burned away. In ancient China, engineers created increasingly sophisticated methods of measuring time, building water-powered mechanisms and complex devices that pushed timekeeping forward. Fast forward to medieval Europe. Most ordinary people still didn't own clocks. In fact, many had never even seen one. Instead, they relied on church bells. The ringing of bells organized daily life, signaling prayer times, work times, meal times, and important events. Entire villages followed the sound of bells rather than watches. Today, arriving 10 minutes late can cause problems, but back then, nobody cared about exact minutes. People thought in terms of morning, afternoon, and evening. Life was measured in moments, not minutes. Everything changed during the late Middle Ages, when mechanical clocks began appearing in towns and cities. For the first time, time could be measured without sunlight, stars, water, or candles. Large clock towers overlooked busy town squares, and businesses slowly began organizing around fixed schedules. Markets opened and closed at specific times, and society became more structured. Eventually, clocks became small enough to carry. Pocket watches allowed individuals to know the time wherever they went. For the first time in history, time became personal. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and everything changed. Factories required workers to arrive at precise times. Machines operated on schedules. Being late suddenly had consequences. Time was no longer a guide. It became a requirement. Railways made precision even more important. Trains couldn't simply leave sometime in the afternoon. They needed exact schedules, and a single delay could affect hundreds of people. This pushed society toward the modern concept of punctuality. Today, clocks surround us everywhere. Phones, computers, cars, televisions, and even kitchen appliances constantly tell us the time. Most people check a clock dozens of times every day without even realizing it. And that's the paradox. Humans survived for hundreds of thousands of years without clocks, yet many of us feel stressed if we don't know the exact time for just a few hours. Somehow, the tool we invented to organize life now controls much of it. So here's a question. If every clock disappeared tomorrow, how long would it take before society fell into chaos? A week? A day? Or just a few hours? Because for most of human history, people managed perfectly fine without clocks. And maybe that's the strangest part of all. For hundreds of thousands of years, humanity lived without clocks. Now imagine living without them for just one day.